Good day, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for being with us today. You have joined the CCRE Project Preparation Facilities Information Session. This one specially held for financial institutions and regional organizations. Once again, thank you for being with us. My name is Gerald Lindo. I'm a sustainable energy expert with the CCRE, and I'll be your moderator for today. As you would have gotten from the text of the invitation, today's event is all about the PPF. The CCRE PPF, which was launched in November 2020, is hosting this series of information sessions for our stakeholders to let them know what we do. The PPF offers a broad range of services to support renewable energy and energy efficiency projects for both developers and financiers, you who have joined us today. The services stand to benefit early to mid-stage projects in need of, among other things, business plan refinement, impact assessments, technical studies, and also late-stage projects in need of financier and investor matchmaking. Through this information session, we seek to give an overview of the PPF, highlighting cooperation opportunities for our financial institutions, as well as key benefits for regional partners, member states, and organizations. To learn more about the PPF, and I will repeat this all the time today, please go to ccre.org/PPF. That is ccree.org/PPF. 2 C's, 1 R, 3 E's, that's CCRE. At that page, you'll find a lot of information, you'll find helpful videos, you'll find the sign up page and everything else you'll need to fully participate in this initiative that we're going to tell you about today. But before we go any further, I would like to introduce our Executive Director, Dr. Gary Jackson. Dr. Jackson is going to give us some context for today's talk. Among other things, he's a PhD in mechanical engineering. He has a master's in project management. He's well known in both the public, private, and academia sectors throughout the region as a champion of renewable energy and energy development overall. So please give your attention to Dr. Gary Jackson, who will give us some opening remarks at this time. Dr. Jackson, is your mic on, sir? Do we still have Dr. Jackson?
Unfortunately, Dr. Jackson is having some technical challenges and he is trying to access once again to join us.
Okay, beg your indulgence, everybody. Just maybe another 30 seconds more to a minute. We'll get Dr. Jackson right back with us so he can give us his opening remarks. In the meanwhile, I'll share a little bit of the logistical details for this meeting as we go. You'll notice that everybody's microphones are muted. We expect a lot of attendees today, so for good order, we're going to ask that you'll direct any comments and questions to the Q&A section. That's been moderated by our communications director, Penny Bowen. She will be seeing your questions, they will be received. Seeing your comments will be received as well. And as appropriate, we will address them either as we run, if it's a clarifying question, or at the very end in the Q&A section, where we can go into some of the deeper questions. So please pay attention to the Q&A, leave your comments and your questions there, and we'll definitely get to them. Dr. Jackson, I see you have re-entered the chat. Are you with us now, sir?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Morning, sir. Please go ahead and give your opening remarks to the people.
Thank you very much, Gerald. Good morning, all. It's a pleasure being here this morning. As you know, with this remote working, sometimes your network fails you, but I'm happy to rejoin you. As I said, it's a pleasure being here as we navigate this COVID pandemic and other challenges that the region faces, even with our natural disasters. It's important for us to build better and stronger partnerships. One thing the microbe has taught us is that we have to actually be more cohesive and coordinating in these efforts where we have these massive challenges. And I'm happy that we have such a facility, both the project preparation facility and most recently launched is the CRAF, that we can build better and stronger capacities. I mean, one of the interesting things about the Sustainable Development Goals that we have is partnerships, number 17, and it refers to that we'll need all hands on deck to achieve these Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Within that context, when you think about renewable energy and energy efficiency, you need to ensure that you have the right infrastructure in place, the right site. You need to make sure the resource that you have is actually at its best, and ensure that you make sure that data that you have collected is a bankable data set. It's important that we understand the transactions that take place, and that is very transactional. We have to ensure that we have off-takers, so that we have somebody buying and somebody selling, because it's a business. We want to ensure that, within our regional partners and our financial institutions, that you are capable and have the capacity to deliver on these challenges that we face. So we want to ensure as a SECRE that we can give you that training and that capacity and help you to navigate the landscape, and that we are here for you. We also want to ensure that once you start to look at the projects, understanding the construct of capital or debt that you are looking at, or equity for that matter, that we are in a position to tell you, technically, if these projects are sound, if they have the right construct, and even after they have been deployed, if they are performing against what you have actually signed, what the actual developer signed up for. So we want to make sure there's a proper monitoring and evaluation of that, so that you make sure that, at the end of the day, the returns on the investment is adequate within the framework. So in saying all of that, partnerships is going to be very critical for us. We need to build stronger, better tomorrow. And I'm very happy that we have started this engagement with you, and that this engagement will continue on forever. So thank you very much, and have a great session. Thanks.
Thank you very much for giving us some context, Dr. Jackson, and for setting the frame for today's discussion. We now move on to what I consider to be the main speaker for the event, Charlene Bodley. Ms. Charlene Bodley is the leader of our project development and gender unit here at the SECRE. She holds a Master in Engineering in Energy and in Environmental Management from the University of Flensburg in Germany. And she has a postgraduate diploma in Geothermal Project Management and Financing from the United Nations Geothermal Training Program in Iceland. And she has been working on the PPF since its inception. We're going to turn over to her now so she can give us a better understanding of the services that the PPF offers to you and to your stakeholders. Charlene, over to you.
Thanks, Jerry, and a pleasant good morning to all. So, Dr. Jackson, having set the context, let me again welcome you and reiterate the importance of partnerships as we try to transition the energy sector. And so today I will present basic information about a PPF, what services it offers, who benefits, and in particular, I will point out areas where you and your stakeholders stand to benefit. First things first, I really like to set context. So what exactly is the PPF? The Project Preparation Facility under the SECRE is essentially a go-to facility for converting promising and commercially viable sustainable energy project concepts into tangible, bankable projects. And I say commercially viable because that is an essential aspect to project development in the energy field. And when I say sustainable energy, I refer both to RE and EE. And as I will mention a bit later, even combinations with other more conventional forms of energy production. And so the intention is to ensure that these projects reach a point where they can easily attract financing for implementation. And all of this is essentially towards building environmental and economic sustainability. And in the world that we live in, it's actually remiss of me not to mention our COVID situation and our efforts to rebuild post-COVID, which of course begin now. And so all of that fits into the CCRE's vision, which is essentially transforming the energy landscape into a climate resilient, sustainable, and affordable sector focused on improving the lives of the region's people. And that is really at the core of all that we do at the CCRE. How can we, through the energy sector and transitioning that sector, how can we improve the lives of our Caribbean people? And so the CCRE PPF essentially offers support in 5 main areas. The first being the provision of technical assistance and advisory services for project advancement, again, towards projects that are bankable and that can become practical investments. And I think it's very clear in our region that we have an abundance of renewable energy resources and quite a huge capacity for energy efficiency that we are yet to tap into. At the same time, we can admit that out there, regionally, globally, that there are sources of financing and funding for climate change related projects, of which we can directly make the link to energy, but more specifically for these energy and infrastructural projects. So there seems to be that disjoint, that gap between these project ideas, that abundance of the resource, and actually converting them to practical investments. And through our needs assessment of the region, both private and public sector, the answer was very clear to us. That is project efforts in project development and refining projects. That provision of technical assistance is going to be essential to bridge that gap and to make that conversion. The second basket of support would be matchmaking services through specialized investment and business promotion forum. So while we provide that technical assistance and we have projects that then become bankable, making that link between financiers, financial institutions, and these investment ready projects is going to be also essential. The third is a maintenance and expansion of a regional project pipeline to showcase economies of scale to attract funding sources. I'm going to give a very simple example. The island of Dominica pursuing a 7 megawatt geothermal power plant. On the global market, that is extremely small. And therefore, we find that if our countries, our member states, continue to pursue this alone, and on an individual basis, we don't benefit from economies of scale. In fact, we are disadvantaged by diseconomies of scale, and especially when it comes to attracting funding sources, maintaining that regional pipeline is going to be essential. And CCRE, being the implementation hub for sustainable energy in the region, is very well placed to take that charge. And the fourth basket, therefore, is cooperation with global, Latin America, and regional focused programs, initiatives, and projects through cooperation agreements. And you would have heard in the opening remarks of the executive director, again, the stress on the importance of partnership in all that we do in transitioning the sector. So while the CCRE is the implementation hub, we clearly identify with sectoral synergies and a number of moving parts that make the transition possible. And lastly, support to financial institutions. And I know a number of you on the call are representing your financial institutions with a focus on building capacity in sustainable energy projects and developing financial instruments to support the same. And just might I add that our support again is lent to both the private and public sectors. And so all of the services, or that's the support that has been mentioned under these 5 main areas or baskets of support, would include both private and public sector. And one may ask, what is the benefit of having that centralized support through the CCRI? In general, it would catalyze the linkages between sustainable energy projects and external sources of finance. And I would have mentioned already, trying to benefit from economies of scale through a regional pipeline. So that's one of our general benefits to the region. And specifically to project proponents, the provision of technical assistance and advisory support, essential to advance projects to bankability. And therefore increasing the desirability of projects to attract known sustainable energy financing. And what it does is it forces the CCRI to also make that link and find out these sources of energy financing that would be beneficial to our region. And therefore, increased access to sustainable energy financing mechanisms is an expected benefit. And lastly, being that facilitator for matchmaking between project investors and financiers and the projects that are developed and are investment ready. And what does our business process therefore look like? We first begin with origination, and quite an intricate process, I would say, because what we do have and what we've noticed through our validation period, you would have heard that the PPF was launched in November of 2020, which means that we still remain in what we term a validation phase. And so come April of 2021, we hope to end that phase and move into a fully functional, fully operational PPF. But this process has allowed us to understand what the market is like and what the dynamics are between the project proponents and us as a regional organization providing these services. And so origination is of utmost importance. While we have a number of ideas on the ground, and there are a number of project proponents that would say, yes, I have this idea, I really want to do this, and I really want to do that. And that is both in the public and private sector. And with a particular focus on SMEs, and again, tying this back into our aspirations, our aspirational design of the facility to support post-COVID recovery efforts, again, making that link and appreciating the sectoral synergies. And so our SMEs are going to be a very important and critical subset of our stakeholders. So awareness creation is definitely a key aspect of origination. We have quite a robust communication strategy that has already been started its rollout, and we continue to this outreach. And for example, even these types of info sessions assist in getting these projects to us. And therefore, we welcome applications through that origination process. The other important aspect that may not be shown on screen is our partnerships. So the right partnerships, and later on you will hear from a representative of the CDF, the CARICOM Development Fund, and our project preparation facility was launched in collaboration with the CDF's CRAF, which is Credit Risk Abatement Facility. And as you hear the differences in the services offered, you would appreciate the clear link between our two facilities, and therefore the role of partnerships in the origination process and getting to us high quality projects that we can work with. And we then move into the selection of projects. So that requires the project applications meeting and eligibility criteria. Then that is evaluated, and a number of things may happen, and the details will be shared with a later presentation, but a number of options may occur here. Projects may be accepted immediately, may be returned for updating, But the bottom line of process 2 is getting these eligible projects inducted into the PPF pipeline. And therefore, we move to the most critical stage, I would say, and that is where we at the SICRI PPF provide the services that would refine that project and get it to the end of the pipeline towards receiving financing or being eligible for financing and attracting the right finance. And lastly, the promotion of projects. So yes, we've originated the projects, it's been inducted into the PPF, we've provided the services that make the project investment ready. Then what? Do we stop there? No, the SICRI, and because we already mentioned the matchmaking services, the promotion of these projects and making that last link between these successfully developed projects and financing out there is going to be critical. And so that is the fourth stage, which is promotion of projects. And so one may ask what specific services are offered. And by no way is the list on screen exhaustible. So there are other services, but just to give you a general idea of what may be offered: business plan refinement. And when you hear what is required as an eligibility, you would understand why this is offered as a service, because we do require a concept note of sorts. We call it a business plan. But we expect that through our services, we don't expect that business plan to be perfect. And this is what the PPF is essentially there for. So we can refine that business plan, project financial modeling and documentation, particularly necessary for our EE and RE projects, particularly considering that the majority of these projects are going to be revenue generating. Equity offer terms, financier introduction, technical validation and technical feasibility, environmental and social validation. And on the side of the project investors and financiers, we offer the services of exhibition of PPF pipeline projects. So if financial institutions are interested in increasing their participation within the energy sector, that exhibition of that pipeline would be important to them. Origination. So again, perhaps some of your clients come to you seeking financing and funding for renewable energy and energy efficiency projects. And perhaps at a first glance, you realize that these projects are not fully developed to a point that gives you the confidence to be able to invest in these projects. We're hoping that through this session, this is a first step in establishing the right mechanisms to allow you to now refer these projects to us so that we could get them to a point that you are comfortable and confident in investing in. Financial networking, also another service, deal flow management, and due diligence facilitation. And I spoke about eligibility. So in general, what makes a project eligible for support from the PPF? In a broad sense, the project location must be within one of the 15 CARICOM member states flags shown on screen. And the project must fall under either the power generation sector, subsector, or energy service solutions. So purely renewable energy projects or energy projects through a hybrid system with a reasonable share of RE generation. What do I mean by that? You may have a system that has some sort of conventional fuel. Of course, at the center, we promote sustainable energy. But if that system has a reasonable share of RE generation capacity, then it would qualify. Energy efficiency, we like to call a low-hanging fruit, and surely we have not tapped into that into the region. And so our efforts will extend to energy efficiency projects, so ranging from audits and energy management programs to demand-side management programs, and really anything that surrounds energy service solutions. Nexus applications, and I cannot begin to stress the importance again of sectoral synergies, and so making that link between the energy sector and other sectors. So energy and water, food and agriculture, and as we try to tackle matters like food security, energy and gender. So perhaps the promotion of female-owned businesses within the sector, the health sector, that link between health and energy. Again, COVID being a constant reminder that we really can't separate any of our efforts and we must find these synergies. The project type, greenfield, brownfield, or scale-up projects would be eligible for support. And so I now invite you to enjoy this very short video as I close my presentation, which seeks to, in a nutshell, summarize what I have said.
The Project Preparation Facility, or PPF, is a project development support resource designed to help you advance the preparation of sustainable energy projects so that they can successfully attract financing. The PPF not only provides advice and technical assistance, but also helps to link bankable projects to investors and financiers, and serves as a pathway to much-needed financial investment. If you are a project owner, private sector developer, part of an NGO or similar enterprise seeking to advance a sustainable energy project in the CARICOM member states, then you may qualify for support. The Project Preparation Facility supports medium to high capacity renewable energy and energy efficiency technology projects, including biomass and biofuel, biogas, geothermal, ocean technologies, solar PV and thermal, hydropower, energy storage, wind, waste to energy, and greenfield, brownfield, and scale-up enterprises such as energy power generation, efficiency, and solutions projects. For more information on project preparation facility support, visit www.ccreee.org/ppf.
So as I close, I also take the opportunity to mention our partnerships that have gotten us from, well, pre-November, our pre-November launch to now. We are working with Get Invest and PFAN. That these are sub-programs under both UNIDO and GIZ, or GIZ and UNIDO respectively. So PFAN under UNIDO and Get Invest under GIZ. And they are our partners. They are partnering with us to provide some of the services supporting the establishment of the facility. We, again, as previously mentioned, we have signed our first cooperation agreement for the PPF with the CARICOM Development Fund, and that is that direct link to the CRAF, which is the Credit Risk Abatement Facility. And we are currently in the process of pursuing more cooperation agreements with other key stakeholders around the region and globally. So with that, I thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Charlene, for that presentation. Once again, to all our attendees, if you want to see this animation, get more information about how the PPF works, go to ccreee.org/ppf. You'll find all the information there. If you have any questions on this or some of the presentations to come, please put them in the Q&A below. We won't have our microphones on for this session because we have a lot of you here in the room today, and to keep good order, we want to take your comments and questions through the Q&A. So please ask your questions there and we will get to them. Our next speaker, who I'd like to introduce now, is Ms. Sapphire Vital. Sapphire is a more recent person to join the CCREE, but she's a valuable team member. Among other things, she has a master's in environmental change and management from the University of Oxford and first class honors in engineering from the University of the West Indies at St. Augustine. A well-qualified young lady, and she has been making excellent impact on the work we do in the PPF. She's going to walk you through how the website works and some of the more mechanical aspects of how you can log on to these services. Sapphire, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Jerry. So my presentation today is going to give an overview of the PPF project stages, as well as the application process. So jumping right into it, in terms of the project stages that are applicable to the PPF, the general, consensus or the general thing around this is that projects that apply need to show economic and technical viability, whether they are at the various, stages, because for the PPF, we do accept projects from a variety of stages, whether they be pre-feasibility. So for example, a pre-feasibility projects where we might be in need of more in-depth study to ensure that the projects are economically viable. Projects that might be at the feasibility stage, the next stage, for example, might be in need of impact assessments or financial modeling. And finally, projects at the financial close stage would already have a business plan and a financial model, and they would be in need of things such as permits, licensing, and project matchmaking with financiers and investors. But overarching, one of the frameworks that we use here at the PPF to think of ideal projects is called SHROPTIC, and I'll go through it now. And that would be a site, resource, off-taker, permits, technology, team, capital, and construction. So the idea is that projects would have all of these items in order to be ideal to move forward. At the least, though, as we have here highlighted in green, we do ask that projects have identified a site, a resource, and a technology, as this is very important, linking back to that first step, to ensure that the projects are economically and technically viable. As we have highlighted here in orange, these are not, mandatory, but we do advise that projects show some kind of idea of their off-takers, their permits, as well as the project team. And in blue, the capital and construction, that is one of the main goals of the PPF, to help projects to reach financing and to access them in order to facilitate implementation through construction. And against that backdrop, if we think of the online application process, these are the main steps that applicants would have to go through. So registering through our website, and I have it displayed here again, creating an account, navigating the application portal to actually fill in that online application form, and then to submit an application. And I'm also going to go through a bit of what happens after submission. So to just go through that process in terms of registering to the PPF, I just have here a screenshot of our webpage. And as you can see here, the register button, you would be able to click that, access the registration form, fill it in, and then create an account with the application portal. And that's what the application portal looks like. And here applicants will be able to access the online form. And these are the fields, the information that are required. So information about the organization, the point of contact, important information about the project, the total cost, the location, a summary of the service, the target market, any commercial arrangements that are already there, project benefits to different areas. So whether that be, for example, energy access, gender, also the project size, the project status. So in terms of, what documentation has already been done for the project. For example, does it already have a business plan? Does it already have some idea of technical feasibility? Then we'd also ask within the application form for a log of the development needs. So what is the particular investment that is required? What is it required for? A note on what exact technology is to be used. And we also ask the applicants attach some documents. So 2 of these are mandatory. The executive summary is mandatory, 1 to 2 pages. The project proposal is also mandatory, a maximum of 20 pages. And then we recommend that projects attach also an economic module or some type of financial assessment. So once applications are submitted, there are 3 possible outcomes. Projects may be accepted, they may be rejected, or they may be sent back. If projects are sent back, the PPF team would have gone through the application and deemed it to be promising, but it might be lacking in certain areas. So it will send back the application with recommendations and some overview, some feedback on what the applicants can do, and then they can send back the project. So the approximate time of processing for our projects are approximately 1 month. So that's whether it's a newly submitted project or if it's the project that has been sent back, that time frame is about 1 month. So thank you for listening. And if you would require any information or further insight on what we have presented today, we have a lot of information on our website. We have a FAQ document. We have video tutorials of managing the application portal. There is also a guidance manual that's going to be uploaded soon. And there's also a checklist that applicants can go to with the information that I would have presented so they can ensure that they have all the required information for the application portal. So thank you very much for listening. Over to you, Jerry.
Thank you again, Sapphire, for a good presentation. Once again, ccreee.org/ppf if you want this and other information. Our next speaker comes from one of our partners in the PPF. This is Mr. Wayne Vitalis of the Credit Risk Abatement Facility. Mr. Vitalis is the financial controller of the CARICOM Development Fund, and he has over 27 years experience at the executive management level, spanning the public and private sectors in management, banking, finance, investment promotion, and facilitation. And he's worked with regional organizations up and down the Caribbean. Over the last 11 years, he has been responsible for overseeing the financial management of the CDF's resources and compliance. And more recently, Mr. Vitalis has been involved in the development of innovative financial solutions that respond to the needs of its stakeholders in the energy sector. And therefore, he's the technical lead of the establishment of the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, which you're going to hear about more in just a second. Mr. Vitalis is a certified and licensed public accountant with the New Hampshire State Board of Accountancy. He's a chartered global management accountant with the American Institute of Certified Accountants and holds a professional certificate or professional certificates from the New York Institute of Finance. He is also a holder of a BSc in Accounting and Finance from the University of the West Indies Mona campus, an expert in finance, and he's going to tell us a bit more about the Credit Risk Abatement Facility with our important partner, the CDF/CRAF. Wayne, over to you, please.
Sorry, thank you very much. I seem to have lost my, give me 1 second. Can you hear me?
Hearing you loud and clear, yes.
Okay, good, thank you. Thank you very much, Gerald, for your complimentary remarks, and good afternoon, good morning to all participants. A little bit about the CARICOM Development Fund before I start. I'm attempting to share my screen, but for some reason I am having some difficulty doing that. Right, good. That's it. Thank you very much. Right, I think I have it sorted out now. Share my screen. Oh God. Yeah. So is it up now? I'm not seeing.
Quite yet, Mr. Vitalis.
Okay, let me try make one more attempt. Added screen 2. All right, you have it up now?
There we go. It's coming up now. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, a little bit about the CARICOM Development Fund. It was established by the CARICOM heads of government to deal with disparities that arise from the implementation of the CARICOM single market and economy. How we do that is by providing loans, grants, and technical assistance to what we define as disadvantaged countries, regions, and sectors. The facility that I'm going to speak to today has its genesis in the mandate that requires the CDF to facilitate business development and enterprise competitiveness. Right. What are we seeking to address? The challenge that we're seeking to address is the vulnerability of SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, to high cost of fuel that leads to high cost of operations, reduced efficiency, and reduced competitiveness. That vulnerability arises out of a lack of understanding of renewable energy and energy efficiency generally, particularly on the demand side, where there is a significant amount of ignorance of what RE is. And even in instances where SMEs appreciate the importance of RE and EE, they do not have the time to devote to implementing RE and EE solutions in their businesses because they are more caught up with the day-to-day challenges of the businesses. On the supply side, there's also ignorance of financial institutions to who this sector is new, and they're reluctant to make that step into the sector and need some support to do that. The barriers to financing also is a key manifestation of the vulnerability of financial institutions. Most SMEs are viewed as less than creditworthy, and there's a lack of risk appetite from financial institutions to lend to that sector. And the current project, the traditional products that exist in financial institutions are not fit for purpose for RE and EE, and so cannot be structured to benefit small and medium-sized enterprises. What is our response to that? Our response to that is to target those barriers to accessing financing for RE and EE investment for SMEs, and to incentivize lending from local financial institutions that would not normally take place in the normal course of business, and to support the entire all the players through a technical assistance program that would address a lot of the barriers that exist currently in that market. Dealing with demand side constraints and leveraging the supply side opportunities. So in collaboration with the Energy Unit of the CARICOM Secretariat and the German Development Corporation, we designed the credit risk abatement facility. So having heard the challenge that exists and how we intend to meet that challenge, what can you say is the credit risk abatement facility? Well, in a nutshell, the credit risk abatement facility is an ecosystem of industry players in three main categories: financiers, and by financiers, we've adopted a broad definition of financiers to include not just development banks and commercial banks, but also insurance companies, credit unions, and any other fund that provides lending to small and medium-sized enterprises. The second category of partners would be small and medium-sized enterprises who are the main beneficiaries of CRAF, and of course those industry service providers who either provide services in RE and EE or products and technology in RE and EE. So these are three main categories of partners who form that ecosystem. And CRAF is designed with three interconnected pillars The first is a credit risk instrument that provides a suite of credit enhancement products. At this juncture, we are starting with the partial risk guarantee, but there are other products that we intend to roll out in the future. For instance, insurance type products or cash flow support and things of that nature. But these are credit enhancement projects that we intend to roll off a little later on. The second pillar is a technical assistance program that is fully integrated into the facility and is integral in ensuring the success of CRAF. And of course, the third pillar is a robust monitoring and evaluation pillar that provides feedback to all players within the CRAF system or CRAF facility, and provides learning opportunities and corrective action when necessary. CRAF was established over 3 phases. The first phase involved extensive consultation with industry players in 5 countries listed above. Phase 2 involved the detailed build out of the design, the setup of the institutional arrangements, and the provision of initial funding. And phase 3 will be the pilot rollout. We are now in phase 3 of the project, which commenced on January 3rd, 2021. And that phase fully operational, makes the CRAF fully operational. The slide that I'm speaking to here really emphasizes that CRAF is targeting a real need. And that need is to reduce that fossil fuel piece of the pie by lowering the cost of energy on the power generation side. Given the target set by the CARICOM region in terms of renewables penetration, CO2 emission and mitigation, and other mitigation targets, energy efficiency share. If CRAF is supported by the countries in the region, as we expect it to, its transformational value will be felt because it would significantly contribute to the achievement of those targets. So in a nutshell, I know this slide is a little cluttered, but just to give you an overview of what the design is like. The CDF will administer the CRAF. CDF is providing initial funding for CRAF. That CRAF will deliver its services through the 3 pillars: the technical assistance, the credit risk, and the monitoring and evaluation to all the partners, and ultimately to the benefit of the small and medium-sized enterprises. This 6, you hear partial guarantee, and the first thing that probably comes to your mind is, well, there are other guarantee facilities in the region. What makes this one different? Well, there are 6 differentiating features of CRAF, and those differentiating features capture the design philosophy of CRAF that makes it world-leading. Nimble, the ability to adapt quickly to local conditions, easy access to CRAF and calls on the guarantee, for instance, avoidance of duplication. If there are institutions that are providing services in the region, CRAF will not seek to duplicate that, but to collaborate with those institutions to deliver those services. And it, as I said, the extensive network and the way that they are connected to support the success of the facility is a unique feature in CRAF. I want to put this just a little in practical terms for you. Earlier on, I spoke of lending, incentivizing lending that would not normally occur in the course of business. What I mean by that is, if a financial institution is comfortable to lend to an SME that is a client of it and would lend for RE and EE, ordinarily, we are not interested in that business. What we are interested in is those bankable projects that fall just outside the boat. Either because, one, there's a collateral deficiency, or there's cash flow insufficiency that if the investment or the project is implemented would free up cash flow to repay that project. So if an SME comes to a commercial bank and says, hey, I would like to retrofit my factory, my operating plant with more efficient equipment, they do have enough collateral, but they do not have the sufficient cash flow to support it, we would be interested in that. Likewise, if they do have the cash flow but insufficient collateral, we would support that. So the partial risk guarantee that we are starting out with will cover up to 80% of loans, ranging from as little as $25,000 to $750,000 per project, with a maximum tenure of 10 years. And it's available to all financiers who are the main counterparties to CRAF. The technical assistance program is, while it is comprehensive, it is targeted. We are not in the business of providing general technical assistance in RE and EE. There are institutions better suited to do that than us. And the main objective of our technical assistance program is to build the industry generally, to stimulate demand, and to provide capacity building opportunities to all players within the facility. Of course, I mentioned the monitoring evaluation a little earlier on, and it is, of course, would ensure that we attain the key performance indicator targets that we've set, and we provide feedback to persons, timely feedback and regular feedback to all the participants in the region. CRAF was launched on the 25th of November 2020 in collaboration with the CCRI, and so far it has been a resounding success, and I'll speak to that a little later. The CDF so far has been able to finance the pilot phase of CRAF, with the credit risk instrument being capitalized at $10 million US, the technical assistance program at $2 million US so far, and of course CDF will meet the operating cost of the facility, which includes monitoring and evaluation. When CRAF is fully ramped up over the next 10 years, we expect to raise for the credit risk instrument US $100 million, for the technical assistance program $20 million, and for the operating with an operating expenditure of US $3 million. With that level of capitalization, we are hoping to support 104 projects. The total investment value of $26 million during the pilot phase that will lead to or should lead to cost savings of $3.3 million and reductions in emissions or reduction in carbon footprint of 2,722 tons per annum. Of course, when it's fully rolled up, we're targeting to support 1,190 projects with an investment value of almost $300 million and cost savings of $38.2 million. What have we done since we commenced the pilot phase in January this year? So far, we have signed up 2 financial institutions covering 3 countries, 3 of the pilot countries. We are in advanced negotiations with another 2 financial institutions covering 4 jurisdictions. We have approved 12 projects so far from 2 countries with a total investment value of $3 million. We have established cooperation agreements with 2 industry partners that will support our technical assistance program. If you require any further information, can I encourage you or invite you to visit the CRAF website, which is www.craf.org. And with that, I want to thank you, and I look forward to questions and providing any further clarification you may require.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vitalis. That takes us to the end of the presentation phase of our proceedings today, and now we want to step right into Q&A. We're sure you have questions or comments that you want clarified. I'm seeing 2 that have already been put in by our moderator. First one, how can financial institutions best help clients using the PPF? I'm going to direct this one towards Charlene. Charlene, how can financial institutions best help clients using the PPF?
Okay, Jerry, thank you so much for that question. Again, we anticipate that as financial institutions interact with project proponents, developers, both private and public sector, that may come forward seeking support for financing. And as long as these projects would require project development support, we would expect that our financial institutions could either reach out directly to us, but also because we have set up that web portal, making that interface easier between applicants and us at the CCRI, we would also ask them to direct these possible clients to, or potential clients to, our website, and that website is again www.ccri.org/ppf. That's 2 C's, 1 R, 3 E's. And outside of that, though, Jerry, I think it's also important to note that because CCRI focuses also on capacity building, that we do have every intention to support, and we have started having some bilaterals with a number of financial institutions across the region. So both within and without the PPF, providing that capacity building to our financial institutions, enabling them to better assess these projects coming to them would also be a first step, so that they can adequately decide whether these projects should attract more technical assistance from the CCRI. Okay,
good, got you. Second question, I think, is also for you, Charlene, but also for Wayne, to let's say, well, to an equal extent. The question is, how do the CRAF and the PPF work together to support RE and EE uptake regionally? How do we work in tandem together? I think there's a part that CCRI does through the PPF, there's a part that the CRAF does. Could you start us off on that one, Charlene?
Sure. And again, we would have heard that the 2 facilities were strategically launched together in November of 2020. So as the CRAF interfaces again with its clients, we anticipate, and I'm sure Wayne could attest to that, that they would be receiving some projects that are not yet there technically, projects that would not enable the CRAF to offer that service of that credit risk abatement. And so having signed that cooperation agreement with the CRAF, at this present moment, we have that the lines of communications are wide open, and we collaborate very closely with the CRAF team, and so these projects would now be channeled to the CCRI. Our aspirational design for that collaboration is to actually have a direct web portal link between the 2 facilities that may automate that process a little more. And on the CCRI end, where projects are originated through the CCRI PPF and then would have received that technical assistance and these advisory services and resulting in investment ready projects. Should these projects qualify there then for CRAF support, then we would also pass these projects on to the CRAF.
Very good. Wayne, anything more to add to that one?
I think Charlene answered it adequately, but just want to add quickly that part of CRAF's design philosophy is to ensure that we're able to react promptly to requests from industry partners. So when Charlene spoke of automating the application process through the web portal, the philosophy behind that is to ensure that it is seamless, and it is, if let's say a financial institution or even an SME applies for support, for technical support from CRAF or from the project preparation facility, that is directed behind the scenes, so the SME does not know what is happening, and to him, he's just made one application, and we will direct it appropriately and in a very timely manner.
Okay, so we're working together already, and in the future we'll work together even more smoothly. This is good for the region. Mr. Vitalis, you again, a question came in: how, or would the countries in the pilot be the only ones eligible for the CRAF?
For the time being, we have assessed those countries. We have dealt with the industry players and those partners that we want to sign on to CRAF. But the CDF has 12 member states, and those member states are eligible. I don't think there's anything that will prohibit those member states from making an application to CRAF for sign up as a partner. So they probably would be in a position to apply. But for now, we are concentrating on the pilot countries that we've identified.
Got you. Another question that, again, I think we can, well, two questions really, we can put to both sides. The question is there a minimum size of project and a maximum size of project to attract the services? I suppose we could ask this question of either the PPF or the CRAF. So let's go to Charlene first. I know we said medium to large, Charlene, but is there a minimum size or a maximum size for our consideration?
Thanks, Jerry. Yes, that is an excellent question. So I had mentioned during my presentation our intention to place some focus on SMEs. And so we have categorized our projects based on these distinctions. So for the SMEs, a minimum would be 250K, and that's USD as the project value. And for the SMEs, there is no maximum on that, but when we consider another class of projects, so your larger projects or your utility scale projects, the minimum would be $1 million.
$250,000 for SMEs, 1 million for the not so small and medium enterprises. Wayne, on your side, do you have a maximum minimum project?
Yes, we've set the minimum at $25,000 and the maximum is 750 million. We want to spread the benefits as much as possible across our 12 member states. We do intend, however, to engage the CCRI in delivery of technical assistance to projects below this threshold. And what I mean by that is there's 3 ways we deliver our technical assistance. CDF has funds that it can directly make available to support technical assistance support. It also would leverage resources or technical resources from institutions that currently engage in RE and EE space. So while CCRI has set a minimum of 200,000 for its SMEs, we can engage them directly through our funds to provide the technical assistance if they are better placed to do it as an institution. So they become now a provider of our technical assistance paid by the CDF.
Okay, very good. I'm not seeing any more questions in the Q&A for now, but I believe we're kind of getting close to official time on this. But I would like to put one more of my own into the mix. I'm wondering, Charlene, if we could give a bit more detail on the types of technologies that we could possibly support. I mean, obviously, SECRE has a mission for RE and EE. Could you revisit one of your slides there to just show everybody what sort of technologies we're looking to support?
Sure, Jerry, it was contained within the video, so I'm just going to go through it. So all forms and manner of RE, renewable energy. So we're talking solar, wind, geothermal, ocean technology, which is an area that the SECRE, along with a number of partners in the region, including CDB, etc., is pursuing on a regional basis. Biomass, and even the transport sector. So that was something that was not stated explicitly, but with a push towards sustainable transport, electric mobility would also be an area that would fall under. When we get into energy efficiency, of course, the ones that stand out more typically would be your energy audits and energy efficiency within buildings. But there is also another aspect that does not deter us from our mandate, and which is basically, being the implementation hub for renewable energy and energy efficiency in the region. And that is the area of natural gas. And why would we support a project that focuses on natural gas? The simple answer is, as long as that project can show clearly its potential as an energy efficiency project, then it would be supported, understanding the difference between the more conventional fossil fuel projects, so your diesel projects, as opposed to natural gas that has significant emissions reductions. So from that angle, we would consider, but again, that would depend on how that project is structured and if there is a clear indication that it contributes to energy efficiency.
Okay, so for example, if a large facility that has some old HFO generators wanted to switch to some sort of combined heat and power situation fired by natural gas, as long as we can show very, very clearly that there is an increase in efficiency that's going to therefore we're down to fewer emissions, cheaper prices, a better energy situation overall for efficiency purposes, then it's possible that that could be entertained as well.
Correct. And in a number of our member states, energy planning exercises have shown or have recommended natural gas as a bridging technology as countries seek to move to very high penetrations of RE. And so with these leads and given the example that you've mentioned, surely.
Okay, another question coming in. I want to make sure I understand it. Can you expand on the hybrid element and what support for those hybrid projects, I'm guessing, would look like? About this was you, Charlene, but I imagine it would be the same sort of services, unless I'm misunderstanding what I mean by hybrid here. It'd be the same sort of services where we're talking about a hybrid system or other sorts of systems, right? It'll be about all of the elements of project development, technical studies, feasibility, etc., etc. Could you take a crack at that one there?
Sure, Jerry. I'm not sure I understood the question. I would have liked to see it written myself, but I'm just going to go ahead and take a stab at it. So when we refer to hybrid, okay, I see the question.
Mm-hmm.
If we could expand on the hybrid element. So I'm going to give an example. Say you have a system that already uses conventional fuel, but there is an opportunity for cogen. So cogeneration. So the heat that is generated from your processes, if that then can reduce your consumption of fossil fuels, again, going back to that being an element of energy efficiency, or a hybrid, another hybrid situation may be a mixture of fossil fuels and renewable energy. So any of these systems, and at first, in fact, we did think of placing a benchmark on that. So what percentage of RE would be considered, but we have since removed that particular figure. I would just say it would be good to see a project having at least 50% of RE as an element to a hybrid system.
We are, of course, the Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, so the more RE, the better from our perspective, but we're market responsive. I'm not seeing too many other questions in the chat here. So while we may wait for one or two more to come in, I just want to go a quick round robin. First to Wayne, then to Charlene, just give any closing comments or remarks that you might want to give. Let's start with you, Mr. Vitalis.
In closing, I would just like to encourage financial institutions and any other partners, if they are trade associations on this call, to visit our website and inquire or sign up for CRAF. It's going to be of significant benefit to you or your members, and we make ourselves available to respond to any queries that you have, and you could direct these queries to either myself or Laverne McFarlane of the CDF, or you can direct it through the website.
Thank you, Wayne, for those remarks. Charlene, over to you for any closing thoughts.
Sure, thanks, Jerry. I wish to encourage our participants, those within the financial institutions, our regional organizations, or other organizations who have joined us today. As you interface with your stakeholders, spread the word. I think having a project preparation facility within the Caribbean region surely adds value to our energy transition. It is the first of its kind. There is project preparation support out there globally, but to have it centralized, I think, is an excellent move for the region, a great win for all of us. We cannot operate in a silo. We understand the synergies between your work and ours, between how you interact with your clientele and how we interact with ours, and so there are many cases where your clients become our clients, and we help you to achieve your goals and you help us. So just encouraging participants to spread the word, and again, for further information, you may log on to www.ccre, that's 2 C's, 1 R and 3 E's, .org/ppf. And also, if you wish to interact with us more directly, you can email us at ppf@ccre.org. Again, that's ppf@ccre.org. We are happy to facilitate any further conversations, and to our financial institutions in particular, again, the CCRE, having the technical expertise in-house, we stand ready to provide capacity building support and also technical support, particularly related to assessments of sustainable energy projects. Thanks.
Thank you, Charlene, and that was a really good point on which to end. The CCRE is one of the newer institutions of CARICOM, but we are quite well positioned, in my humble opinion, and quite well staffed, not counting myself. I'm talking about some of the excellent engineers that we have on staff here that are here really to serve the region. I've been in the energy business within the Caribbean for a while, and there's always been this call for just a little bit of push to get us over the hump. You know, we have a lot of energy resources, we have a lot of financiers looking for good projects, we have a lot of technically skilled persons, and yet we can never quite bridge that gap where we go from good project ideas to bankable project ideas that are implemented. And I think the PPF does offer, at long last, a homegrown solution to this. We don't need to necessarily look outside the region. We can look towards our own institutions, our own capacities to really solve some of our problems within the Caribbean. We have a lot of engineers on staff ready to serve. We have lots of linkages to regional institutions and regional expertise. For example, we have thematic hubs in wind energy and energy efficiency and geothermal. So we can really pull on a lot of technical capabilities as an organization to help projects get over that hump. And we implore, we encourage that both our financial institutions and our regional institutions in the room, but basically any stakeholder within the Caribbean should talk to us so that we can get things going for this energy transition for this region. We have a lot of services to offer and we're eager to engage with you. Please visit us at 2Cs1R3Es.org, ccre.org to find out more about us and our mission. Once again, I'm Gerald Lindo with the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. I'd like to thank you all for joining us and spending your time with us today. We look forward to talking with you very, very soon in an effort to get some implementation for energy projects in the region. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you next time.